Hello everyone, welcome to my new video about episodes 7 and 8 of season 11 of the Walking Dead series for a more thorough understanding of what's going on. Maggie proposes that Negan has returned home to Alexandria after Negan expressed doubts regarding their chances of winning against the Reapers. Negan is aware that he is unable to afford losing a single fight, so he agrees to aid Maggie in exchange for her agreeing not to commit suicide. They find a walker who was Lie's best friend's sister. Maggie is furious and devises plans. Eugene and Stephanie take care of walkers in a building that is abandoned in retribution for violating the law. Eugene inquires Stephanie whether Hornsby can be trusted. Stephanie assures Eugene the Hornsby will assist them. Either princess cleans the nearby building of walkers. There are also coughs and Riot's discomfort. Stephanie is able to call Hornsby for help from a medical professional. They observe Mercer taking a young, dressed couple around the premises. A Commonwealth officer informs Yuka she will be able to find an employment opportunity for her based on her qualifications. Yuka clarifies that she's not going to sit in a gathering with friends. The officer informs her that her family members will be released once they've completed their sentence. Yuka wants to meet with the Governor Milton. Darryl walks along the meridian. He is able to see the Reaper emerge out from the new food storage shed. The search and rescue team is on the way back. Gabriel gives the eulogy, while Maggie, Negan, and Elijah stand on the grave of Elijah's. A friend Maggie sends her friend Gabriel to a task and instructs him to kill all Reapers that he encounters. She instructs Negan to locate 4 walkers and create masks from them. The search and rescue team informs Pope that they have located no evidence of Maggie's group. Pope is furious with the Reapers for failing to locate their adversaries. Lee chastises the pupa for yelling towards his troops. The police officer tells Lee to go through the same sweep together with Darryl. Darryl as well as Lee are scouring the outer reaches of Meridian. Darryl is elated with Lee for being a champion for her teammates, however she defends her father's conduct and claims he's the father of her. Maggie put a mask on the face of the walker and then walks in a slow pace across the woodland. Negan offers tips for how to walk like a walker. She then lets the walker go tied to the tree. The walker is released to Maggie, however, she quickly fades from her. Maggie, he stomps across a rock. In the process of attracting the attention of walking Elijah quickly secures him up. Negan is pleased with Maggie's efforts. Gabriel is watching Meridian through binoculars to gather details for Maggie. He observes the Reaper servant Muncie leaving on his own. Gabriel observes Muncie stroll along the grounds, getting to the graves. Muncie is aware of a visitor and is able to grab the knife. Gabriel sets out to sharpen his sword, but Munn left without incident. Yuka is with Tommy at the station and is shocked to learn at the fact that he never became a doctor. Tommy says to Yuka that he's happy with his life. He promises to keep his job in the dark. She reveals that she's got an appointment scheduled with Governor Milton. Soldiers suddenly appear and drag Tommy away in an emoji. Maggie walks with an uninvolved group and is able to control the group. Negan congratulates her. Elijah asks Maggie if Negan has changed. Maggie replies that it's difficult to determine if Negan is really helping or if he has selfish motives. Yuka confronts Hornsby and asks to find out the location of Tommy is. Hornsby says that Tommy will be back home by night and that he will soon be free of her friends. He acknowledges that he assists her with the hope that she will be able to repay him. Darryl as well as Lee find a man among the trees. He tells them his wife has been seriously injured. Lee phoned Pope to ask what to do. Paul demands that he punch the man. Negan sympathizes with Maggie over the loss of community due to the massacre. Negan discusses the reason Negan was able to take action against Rick's organization. He believed that he'd been negligent in protecting his people who were seeking answers to their questions. Maggie asks him if he would have taken a different approach. Negan claims he would have killed every person of her friends when he was sure it would be safe for his people. Maggie refuses to accept his response, however. Negan states that they must take every precaution to protect their family members. He says that their plan can only be successful when they are sincere with each other. Ezekiel comes back to Eugene as well as the princess is refreshed after the treatment. Hornsby decides to assign Eugene along with Stephanie the new job and tells Ezekiel as well as the princess to join him. Gabriel talks to Maggie and tells her that the thing he was seeking remains in Meridian. He doesn't talk about his meeting of the clergyman. Eugene and Stephanie are watching walkers approach the well-dressed man and woman they met earlier in the evening with Mercer. They are having a kiss at the picnic area. Eugene as well as Stephanie are killing Walker. The man Sebastian shouts at them for disrupting his date and claims that he is private security in order to shield the pair from walkers. Stephanie murders a pedestrian. Sebastian is furious at her for spitting. His girlfriend is covered in red blood from walkers. Eugene confronts him and kicks him. Horns Bay. Mercer is rushing to him as the soldiers take over Eugene. Yuka is at Governor Milton's office, waiting to meet Max. The secretary offers her an enthusiastic welcome. She rings the number, then informs Yuka that she has to move the meeting back to the next day because the governor's son Sebastian was attacked. Hornsby visits Eugene in his cell and explains that the sole solution to allow Eugene to be released from prison and assist his friends is to disclose the name and address that his group. He begins to walk away. Eugene requests him to stay. Maggie, Negan, and Elijah put on masks of walking and lead the group to the building. They open the doors to the building and let loose the huge group of walking. Walkers are part of a herd that is on the road. The man leads Darrell as well as Lee to the house in which his son as well as wife, who are wounded, are hiding. Lee advises the man to leave with his son, never to return. After leaving, she begs for them to kill her. Lee is aiming his rifle, but he isn't able to accomplish it. Daryl takes aim at a lady in the crossbow, and then attempts to reveal to Lee that he is lying about acquaintances. The conversation is interrupted by a call from a radio asking them to return to Meridian. Maggie, Negan, and Elijah are the ones leading the horde to the Meridian. Elijah finds his sister's body in the walkers. His lips are shaking in excitement. Maggie is calmingly holding his hand. The Reapers are watching the horde from above of the Meridian border wall. Lee observes it is apparent that the horde is traveling along an unorthodox route. Darrell suggests that he take the horde off of Meridian. Pulp agrees with Darrell's plan, however, he sends Wells instead. Wells guides the horde of Meridian and informs Reapers that he's doing very well. Walking walkers appear on every direction and the walker is stabbed by his victim with a knife. He is wounded and shocked with the attack. They catch the walker. He screams as walkers eat him. A storm is raging through Alexandria. The group retreats to Aaron's home as the doors and windows shake. Navilla takes care of the kids, and Kanai assists the injured. Virgil Reseda sees a piece of the perimeter wall soaring through the air. Lee insists to aid Wells, however Pope claims that he's dead. Lee is aware that Pope has sent Wells to be bait to confirm his belief that Maggie manages the horde. Lee informs Pop of the fact that Wells was a part of their family, however Pope declares that Wells will return to Alexandria. Aaron organizes a gathering in his kitchen home. He mentions that a storm has ripped the wall in two and that the fire in the windmill draws pedestrians. He suggests dividing into groups to repair the wall and put out the flames. Aaron and Magna offer to help put out the flame while Carol, Kanai, and Kelly take on the task of fixing the wall. Reseda lives in the company of Barbara, Diana, Lydia, Virgil, and Nala to safeguard the home and safeguard the children. Pope asks Darrell about Maggie. Darrell affirms that Maggie is a skilled shot and suggests Pope to search for her in the forest. Carver sent a message to Pope to inform him that the horde returned. Pope examines the horde and says they will never let it through their gates. Explosions are heard as the horde walks on the mines that have been installed within the perimeter. Reseda, Diana, and Lydia are able to reinforce the windows using boards. Judith is a comforter for Gracie and offers her tips on how to stay courageous. Gracie battles imaginary walkers with the sword. A walker walks by the windows and is able to grab her. Judith cut off the walking arm. Barbara and Virgil protect their children by the windows. The house is surrounded by walkers who have entered the house. Through the second crack, Reseda and Lydia are sitting on the front porch. Diana runs to their aid as the walkers assault them from the opposite direction. The horde is still in a state of chaos by mines beyond the Meridian. Leo is able to make amends for the loss of lives and their families, but Pope affirms every conflict has victims. Daryl examines his binoculars and observes the group of Maggies wearing masks. Maggie and Gabriel are separated from the horde and travel into the century mark. Darrell arrives with Powell in the post and gives him cigarettes. He drops the matches and then stabs Powell as he attempts to retrieve the matches. He demonstrates Maggie and Gabriel how to enter. Darrell removes the lock from the door to the shed for food. Negan and Elijah help the group. The blast hurls shrapnel through their legs. Darrell is back with Pope, Lee, and Austin. Lee informs Darrell that the walkers are fleeing, but Darrell insists that they're actually moving ahead. Negan and Elijah guide the horde towards the wall. Maggie and Gabriel are able to reach Meridian through a heap of burned garbage. Maggie is discussing further actions with Gabriel and requests Gabriel to wait for her signals. In Alexandria, walkers nearly smash through the front of the home. Reseda is seen running out onto the street and is able to deal with the walkers who are in the yard, whereas the other residents are waiting anxiously inside. Gabriel enters the building and goes straight towards the secret area. Once inside, he finds the items he requires. Darrell, Lee, and Anta gather on the roof. Anta presents a rocket with multiple launcher that he created. Darrell is quiet and asks Lee whether she believes in Dad. Lee admits it's difficult to witness Paul harm those who are dear to her. Darrell admits that the people they fight are actually his own friends. He pleads with Lee not to murder them. Lee is unable to digest his words. Paul is also at the top of their roof. Maggie begins the truck and then rushes towards the entrance gate. She leaps out of the vehicle, allowing it to crash directly onto the walker's gate. In the gap, pour in, Paul orders and Keisha to begin the process. Lee declares that they'll be killed by their own people, however Pope believes it's their turn to die, and she sets off the fire. Darryl uses knives to fight Pope Lee, who stabs Paul on the back of his neck by using the knife. Darryl puts the knife in the anta and snuffs out the flame. Maggie is fighting against the Reaper inside the courtyard. In the next room, Gabriel starts shooting the Reapers with a gun. The floor is crawling across the floor. Lee stabs him again, killing him. Darryl attempts to escape with Lee, however, she informs the entire radio audience she believes that Darryl has killed Pope. She assures Darryl she'll be a fighter for her family. Darryl escapes shortly prior to Carver Boone and Carver Boone arrive. Lee demands that they close the gates and destroy all the things inside the walls of Alexandria. Walkers start breaking through the front doors and the windows of the house. Rosita advises everyone to go upstairs. R.J. Herschel goes through the steps with her, and Barbara and Navilla hold the babies and then follow them up the staircase. The injured Virgil is carried up the steps by Diana immediately after Lydia asks the infant to take care of, and proceed upstairs as she slams the door. In the meantime, Judith searches for Gracie and comes across herself in the basement, looking for weapons. Judith discovers her pole and they head upstairs. However, the walkers have already been in the house. Judith as well as Gracie have returned home to the basement and secured the doors. The basement is flooded by storm water. Maggie, Daryl, and Negan fight walkers and Reapers on the lawn. Lee, through her radio, she orders the Reapers to move away once the yard has been cleared the Reapers, and she fires missiles towards Maggie's group below.